Is the working hour with me, Karl Muhlbauer. Want to thank you all for being so patient. We got a little bit of a late start today. I actually got a new piece of kit here to kind of help with the microwave, with the microphone, and stuff like that. So really excited to be here today and talking with you guys about stuff. Uh, Kind of like I had mentioned in the preview. Um, it's going to be a little bit of a mixed bag today, a bunch of different things. Originally, we are going to have Jean back, but she's going to be back here next week, and we're going to be talking about some additional stuff around leadership and stuff. So, just want to kind of tease that a little bit. It was a lot of fun actually talking with Jean. Uh, don't know if you guys realize this or not. That was actually Jean's first live stream ever. So I was extremely proud that she put herself out there. It's not easy going and doing this stuff, um, and being out there. I know personally I struggle with showing up and being out here doing this. And believe it or not, I've been doing this now for the last 9 weeks, and it's starting to become a habit kind of thing. So I'm actually looking forward to it and doing that. Um, so again, kudos to Gene to stepping up and doing those things. And I think it went really, really well. Would love to hear your comments about last week's episode, to kind of find out a little bit more about kind of what you're thinking and stuff. So let's do this. Why don't we just jump right into it? Dump right into it. Why don't we just jump right into it, and let's talk about um, kind of this week's um, discussion point, which was about kind of taking yourself from being stuck and kind of supercharging your job search and kind of unleashing your career potential, especially if you're someone who is like me, over 40. The rules are maybe a little bit different for us, and there may be some stuff that has kind of creeped in, especially if you're over 40. You probably have at least 15 years of job experience out there, and not to bring everyone down, but life has probably hit you a little bit more than you did when you were 20. We're not as resilient maybe as we were when we were 20 something, or even in our early 30s. We're wiser, smarter, all those things, but again, our lives have probably changed dramatically, where our focus is, and all those things. So, one of the things, honestly, kind of navigating kind of a mid-career change, be it a change that you're initiating, basically looking for something else, or something that's kind of been forced upon you, which is a layoff. Um, you know, it can be a little bit hard, and it can be a little bit more difficult to do those things, especially if you haven't had to go and you haven't had to look for an opportunity or a job for 5 years, 10 years, 15 years. Again, I know people in my career, where they have been, I guess, for the lack of a better way of putting it, um, they got a job right out of college and they haven't moved companies. And if you look at it this way, if you got out of college with a master's degree at 25, like I did, and you've worked 20 years, you're 45, which is still really young, and you have a lot of productive years ahead of you, but you've got 20 years experience. You may not have had to update your resume in 20 years, and the rules have changed in 20 years. So what I tell everyone is this, and yeah, I'm a little biased because I am a coach, and yes, this is something that I do for a living, and I sell my services, and you know I do all those things. But the truth of the matter is, I have a zone of genius because of the things I've done in my career, and a skill set that's very unique in a lot of ways, even for an HR person. Um, but you may not have those skills. You may not have those skills because you know you haven't worked in the things that I have. or seeing the things that I've done. And even if you are an HR professional, like Gene is as well, um, I'll be honest with you, we have blind sides too, especially when it comes to our own product. So when it comes to our own resume, our own job search and everything. And the reason for it is quite honestly, when people go through career transitions, it's something that's extremely personal. And it's not something that's cookie cutter. It's there's stages of grieving, there's all these different things that kind of go into it. And the truth is, we can't just look at it as one one solution fits all. And what we're going to talk today is about three different ways you can kind of approach getting the skills and getting the training that you need. And I'll tell you right now, when I embarked on this endeavor to kind of go out on my own and stuff, there were skills that I just did not possess, like how to create a website or a logo or do social media or stuff like that. For me, social media, quite honestly, it's something I still struggle with. I get help with it. I list technology and tools and all these different things, especially for my scheduling and making sure my things go out on a regular basis now. But the truth is, those are skills that I had to learn, and I had to engage with other people, get training from other people to kind of get me to the point where I am now, where I'm doing lives and have a podcast and I'm posting things on social media and I'm putting myself out there. Even when it comes to a launch, and I'm getting ready to launch my course, which is the hiring season series. Uh, Again, it's interviewing, it's you know figuring out what your job search is and your resume, and it's all three in one, three different courses in one bundle. And I think it's something that's helpful and something that's important for people to kind of get out there. But I'm going to be relaunching it, and I'll tell you right now what I'll be doing is later on today I will be going back to training that I had bought and going through my checklist on all the things I need to do to launch this new iteration of the training. So there's no shame in getting help, is what I guess the long answer to what I'm talking about right now for you. Again, absolutely no shame to get help. So let's talk about some ways you can get help. Now, one way is, I kind of alluded to it already, is kind of like a excuse me, a self-guided online course. And they are great in a lot of different ways. I actually have a self-guided online course. It's actually three courses in one. You can break them apart, you can get them all together and all that stuff. But what's great about it is there's a certain amount of flexibility. You can come down, you can sit down, you can watch it, you know, at night after work, or you can do it, you know, during the day, or, you know, when you've got a break, and you can always come back to it, refer back to it, and do all these different things. The other thing is its affordability. I mean, it is a lot more affordable and scalable for me to do something that's an online guided course to do those things. And again, there's kind of a treasure trove of different information that you can, you know, I can put out there. I can go and I can point people to it and do all those things. And again, it's an opportunity to do things at your own pace. But there are some shortcomings to that. The one shortcoming that you get is that you don't get direct access to somebody like me, and you don't get to tap into what I like to call my well of knowledge, or my wealth of knowledge. And the reason for it is you don't get that one-on-one interaction. Um, it's, at most you'll go and you'll get with the self-guided course, you'll get, Q&A calls on once a week. You may or may not get your question answered depending upon how many people are there, and all that stuff. So it lacks some of that intimacy. It lacks some of those things. where you're getting that high touch feel on dealing with your issues directly or having your questions answered directly. And as much as I tell people this, that, hey, the things that you're going through, other people are going through too. There's shared experiences out there. It's still nice to be able to have a person to talk to and have your questions answered because, again, you may feel that your situation is, solely unique. And in some cases, it is. Not all situations are identical. Uh, but on an online guided course, you just don't get that kind of high touch feel. Now, the second one is kind of a middle ground. And actually, when I launch, the hiring season this time, the way I'm gonna do it is it's gonna be a kind of a hybrid, and it's gonna be kind of like a group coaching environment kind of a thing. And this is a great way to learn for you as a student about things because you're getting access to me, although a little bit more than what you would do on a self-guided course. But again, you also get the opportunity to learn directly from me, but also from your fellow classmates. And there's a lot of value in that interaction. And the truth is, in my corporate training career, we didn't do one-on-one coaching with people for leadership training and stuff like that. You know, in certain cases we did, but the truth of the matter is, for the vast majority of people, when we were trying to build, capacity up, it was in a group setting, and we would have, you know, 15, 20 people in a class to kind of do that, no more than 30. And what we would do is, again, it was a way that people could raise their hand, ask questions, do all those things, but also there was a there was a component of learning from your peers as well, which is so strong because, again, the shared experiences and all those things. Now, the truth is, although this is better than a self-guided course where you have less touch points there than you have here, it's still, you may not get your questions answered completely, and you're jockeying for time with the instructor to kind of answer your questions and do that. And in order to be fair to everyone, we may not be able to dive as deeply as you would want to in a particular topic in order to cover the full curriculum that we need to cover. Which brings me to our final solution, which is that one-on-one coaching, which is another thing that I do provide. And from that one-on-one coaching, it's kind of like that golden ticket where you get to work one-on-one and you get to work closely with that person. You get to dictate what the agenda is. You get to kind of co-create what that strategy and what you want to accomplish and what you want to do. And again, me as a coach, I'm the one with the knowledge, with the experience, and all those things. My job is to kind of guide you in a direction, but you may feel that you need a little bit extra on one topic than you do on another. And we can explore that, on a more intimate basis in a one-on-one coaching environment. So that's kind of what you have options when it comes to coaching, kind of that self-guided online course, which is affordable and flexible and all that, all the way down to one that's a little bit more of a in-depth commitment. It is a higher price point, a higher ticket price, and everything. But again, you do get something and a little bit more out of it than you might out of the other two solutions. Now, I do have a 8-week coaching program that I do offer, and it's kind of a bespoke program. Wow, you can tell I've been overseas for a little bit. It's been a bespoke program where, quite frankly, we design kind of what that looks like, and we target on the things that are specifically maybe holding you back, and we can tailor it to give you a little bit more of some things and a little less of other things, and to doing that. But the main thing with all these different options is support, that you're not doing this alone. And a lot of times in what we're doing these types of things, it's a very lonely process. And it's a very lonely process because we honestly feel isolated, we feel shame, we feel all these different things. And the truth is, this happens to everyone. Everyone reaches that crossroad where they say, I need to make a change. Everyone reaches that crossroad where the business is not going the way that you were hoping it, and you end up on the wrong side of a layoff. It's not something that's unusual or new or something that should have shame attached. And a lot of times we think about the what if. What if I did something different? And the truth of the matter is, a lot of times it's not a matter of what if I did something different. It's I need to do something different. So, um, again, pros and cons, self-guided stuff. There's flexibility, affordability, but may lack some personalization. The group calls, a little bit more personalization because you get to have more direct interaction, but not to the level of, say, a one-on-one, where it does have much more touchy-feely, you know, more of a customized feel to it because it is customized, but it does come always at a higher cost for that. So again, if you are somebody who is like me, that they're over 40 and you're kind of questioning kind of what are the next steps and what you need to do and how you want to proceed and stuff like that, I'll be honest with you, you know, set up an informational meeting. And here is again the link for the informational meeting. You just have to go and just have to scan it. It'll take you directly to my calendar. We can talk about the different options. And again, one size does not necessarily fit all. Um, but let's sit and let's start having a conversation. Check out my website, check out some of the things, read some of my blog posts, and read some of the different things that I've been putting out there for the last few months and stuff. There's a wealth of knowledge that's out there, and it's a great way to kind of get started and do that stuff. The other thing is this, I do have a master class that I put out there, which is the 3 things that you can do to prepare for a possible job change or layoff. It doesn't matter if it's something that you're initiating or they're initiating. These are all things that you need to keep in the back of your mind. And honestly, some of the things that I was reading today in the news, Macy's had alerted the number of people that were not paying their credit card bills and that this was impacting their business. There's a lot of things that the Federal Reserve has been doing over the last couple of years that's actually kind of dulled down the economy a little bit because they were trying to get inflation in check. But it has a knockoff effect. When they raise interest rates, it makes things harder for companies to operate, mainly access to credit. And a lot of these companies that you work for, they don't fund projects based upon cash at hand. Some do. Some do with their um, with their acquisitions, where they'll go and they all pay for cash in hand. But a lot of times they have to go to the markets, they get loans, they do all those things. Again, I came from an industry that this was commonplace, where they would have a certain amount of float of credit, where when they were drilling wells and stuff like that, they weren't necessarily using all their cash in hand to increase production. They used some of it, but they didn't use all of it because they needed to have some flexibility in their books to be able to do things. So as they raise interest rates, that credit becomes tighter, it becomes more expensive, and it's going to have an impact on the job market. Even though right now the job market is hot, but look at the technology industry. Another article I read this week was that the salaries for tech jobs have come down from the peak of 2020, 21, beginning 2022. And people are not getting the salaries, are not getting the offers that they used to for the same job maybe a year ago. So keep those things in mind. You need to prepare yourself. And the best way for you to prepare yourself again is, understanding the three things you can do today to kind of prepare for that job change or layoff. So scan the code right over there. Again, it's a quick little video that you can kind of take notes on and everything. Um, I will be changing that up shortly as well. So get to it now while you can. And again, your best offense is a great defense, and that is to prepare for whatever eventuality that may come your way. With that said, we are kind of at the end of our time today. I'm sorry that was a little bit late. Had some health stuff I need to take care of, and it kind of ran over it and everything. So, um, again, part of it, what I do and what I preach is taking care of yourself. And today I was taking care of myself. It just took a little bit longer than I thought. Um, if you've got any questions or anything, drop me a note in LinkedIn, or you can go to my website directly. If you look up here, somewhere up here, there it is. Just click on that and scan it, get in there. It's www.karlmuhlbauer.com if you want to venture to try to type my name in there. Um, but go in there, get some of the free resources and stuff like that. And I look forward to seeing you guys next week and talking with you next week. And wishing you all the best and best success. Have a great